What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the More Than Love podcast. I'm your host, Terry Duran, and tonight I have a special co-host with me. I got my girl, Kira J, on the line. What's going on, Kira?
Hey, guys.
Yeah, man, we got a pretty good show lined up for you guys tonight. A lot of interesting topics. Tonight's show is brought to you by Terry Duran Books. So before we get into the topic of the night, I like to start off the podcast with a segment that I call Terry's Top 3, where I basically highlight and elaborate on 3 of the most popular posts from my Instagram page at Terry Duran. But before we get into that, I wanted to introduce Kira to the audience. So Kira, let those of you that may not be familiar with who you are, what you do, let them know a little bit about yourself so they can get some context on the perspective you'll be providing tonight.
All right, my name is Kira J. That is I am Kira J. all across social media. IAMKIRAJ. I am a spoken word poet, professional man basher. No, I'm kidding. I'm from Harlem, so that means I got a bunch of culture in me. I'm a filmmaker, an actress, an overall millennial that's just out here doing her thing.
All right, that's what's up, man. Well, I appreciate you taking out the time out your busy schedule to hop on the podcast with me. I think it'll be something that a lot of people will enjoy, getting our different perspectives on the topics at hand. So we'll move it on by getting into the first post from my Terry's Top 3. So this was a question that was sent to me. It said, "My husband looks at every woman he encounters and determines if he finds them attractive or not. Is that acceptable male behavior?" And my response to that is it's natural behavior. So it's something that you're not going to ever be able to control or censor or eliminate. The only thing that really matters is how he responds to it. A man is perfectly capable of seeing a woman that he finds attractive or thinks is fine and still having the self-control and enough respect for his relationship that he doesn't act upon it. So if he's not pursuing the woman or trying to do anything that disrespects or violates the relationship, it's really none of your business who he finds attractive, because that's one of those things that you can't control. So you trying to dictate something that is in somebody's head that is not having a direct impact on your relationship is just causing unnecessary drama. So what do you think about that, Kira?
I think that this is one of those cases where it's probably more that we don't know. He's probably window shopping with some money in his pocket. He probably stepped out on her U-turn. So she's probably feeling like he's scouting. He's not just looking, you know?
I mean,
because when a man that's faithful to you is just looking, you don't care. But if a man that has tested your insecurities is looking, it's like you know that he's looking for a potential or a backup. So that's what that sounds like.
That could always be the case, though. You know what I mean? Like with cheating, there are no cheat indicators or no app you can download that let you know exactly when somebody's cheating. So anybody can be anywhere and meet somebody that they could potentially end up cheating with. All it takes is one conversation or one connection. It could be by chance, by circumstance, or it could be an introduction from somebody or business, whatever the case may be. So
what I took from the post was her saying every woman. You know what I mean? Because it's like, is it just random women on the street, or is it your homegirls? Is it your coworkers? Is it his coworkers? You know?
Well, I mean, even that.
Every single woman around him.
That's natural, though. Like men, I don't know any man that does not notice when an attractive woman comes around him. It don't matter if it's a woman that's off limits. It don't matter if it's somebody else's girl. All men notice attractive women everywhere they go. I don't care if it's the bus station, McDonald's, Walmart. Anywhere a man goes and there are attractive women, he's going to notice them. So either you want him to pretend he doesn't, which isn't really fair if he's given a normal response. Now, staring, turning around backwards, gawking at women, that's doing too much. That's obviously over the top. But to think that a man is not going to notice an attractive woman is unrealistic. You know what I mean? Because the reason that it's unrealistic is because we notice other people. We notice if somebody's extremely ugly. So she wouldn't have a problem if he saw an ugly chick and was like, whoa, she's not gonna have a problem with that. But if you have a problem with him noticing a cute chick, like he's not a robot or a machine that can control what he likes to look at.
I think it's the intent. It's the, oh, she looks good, or is it the, oh, I would do her? You know what I mean? Like, how does it work?
That's something that men instantly figure out. A man can see a group of 5 chicks walk up, and he can instantly know which ones out the 5 he'd sleep with. That happens instantly.
More so than him just saying, "Oh, she's pretty." I think it's more of a, "Oh yeah, I would," you know, because "Oh, she's pretty" ain't as negative.
Ain't that the same thing?
I would give her the business. You know?
I get what you're saying, how the information is delivered. But if a man says a woman is pretty or she's cute or any of these positive attractives, that means she's qualified to get the D.
Yeah, that means that.
Like, so,
oh,
yeah, so I mean, it's not like he has to say, "Oh, I'd love to do this, and the third with her." If the man says she's attractive or she's cute or she's nice, that means that she's in the category of women that can get the D if they were available.
Why tell her though?
I don't know if he's telling her. If he is telling her, see that stares to another thing where it's like, do you want him to be honest?
Sabotage it.
Do you want him to be?
Picture a woman going every fine dude she see, oh, he looks good. You know what I mean? Like, why are you telling a man that? Put that in your group chat.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't think. Yeah, it's definitely not a smart strategy or something that you should be doing. But I don't think that he should have to try to pretend that he doesn't notice them or anything to that effect either. But I definitely see what you're saying. Like some thoughts or some feelings are better just kept to yourself.
Especially if you know you're dealing with someone who gets insecure over minor imaginary situations, then let's not even talk about the scenario. You shouldn't have to pretend, but you know it's a fantasy either way. It's just not going to happen. Why does it matter? Yeah, she looked good, but why does your girl need to know that she looked good, or you would do her if you're never going to cheat on her? Why can't that be an opinion that's kept to yourself if you know your girl is insecure?
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's like a woman who knows she got a broke man, right? Or whatever the case of her man's insecurity. She ain't gonna be going to her man like, "Oh my God, this nigga got so much money. I would let him spoil me." Well, it's true or false. That information your man need to hear. Put that in your group chat.
Very good point. The next post that I had that I wanted to talk about. It said, my friend is dating a man in his 60s, and they got in a car accident that caused her to miss work. Her bills are $2,000 a month, and she asked him to help. He said he didn't have it at first, and then he gave her $500, then gave her another $340 a little bit later. She came to me crying, and I told her that he's a loser and that she should dump him. She can do bad by herself. Now, this post got a lot of reaction because it demonstrates a very, very, very ungrateful and entitled attitude. Now, this was not this woman's husband. It's somebody that she's dating, right?
Right.
And so for them to get in an accident, which may or may not have been their fault, that's part of the risk you take when you get in a vehicle. All right, so she's out of work. She can't pay her bills. For him to be willing to help her as much as he could shows that he's a stand-up guy. Because he could have told her, "I'm not giving you a damn thing," because she's not his wife and he's not obligated to do so. So for the friend to take that man giving you almost $1,000 unexpectedly that he may have needed for other things, and to turn around and call him a loser and tell her that she needs to be dumped, that just demonstrates the type of attitude that men complain about on a regular basis. And so, fortunately, a lot of the women on my page responded and stated that exactly what I said. They were able to see the situation for what it was.
Right.
A woman giving her friend some real silly bad advice.
The first thing I heard from this story wasn't the fact that car accident and man didn't give me enough money. What I heard was a grown-ass woman who didn't have enough savings or enough insurance to cover that shit herself.
Very good point.
So how is he a loser when you don't have it yourself to take care of it?
Yeah, I mean, see, that's why, like, the friend is the one that's causing the drama. She's not holding her friend accountable for her own scenario, and we all.
How old is the man again?
She said he's in his 60s.
I think that's what's pressing a friend more so, because a lot of younger women, when they date older men, they automatically assume that they got the bag. They automatically assume that they about to get sugar daddy out because he's been working his whole life. He about to take care of me. So if you dating an older man with no bag, it's kind of pointless. You can go and get dogged out by a young dude for that case, as most women think. Not most, as some women think, I'll say.
Well,
so our friend sounds like a young chick who's getting tricked on by an older dude. And the other friend sounds like the one who probably went and found the older dude that she actually liked, not for his money, not for, he could sugar daddy me out, but she just liked him and he happens to be older. So if you automatically approaching an older man from a financial standpoint, if you have an older man who don't have the bag for you, you're going to look at him like, what are you here for?
Well, I mean, you're right. The way I look at it, that's retirement age. That's retirement age. So most people's income drop once they retire. You know what I mean? Like, so from a logical standpoint, it seems kind of silly. It's like, just because he's in his 60s, that means his house should be paid off. That means that he shouldn't be buying a new car every 2 years. He should have his car close to being paid off. So he just need medical care and vacation and kick it money to pretty much maintain. So it seems like you said, they were based off some sugar daddy type expectations.
Exactly. When you're dating an older man with younger women, the money is automatically assumed. Oh, he gonna take care of me. The same way with cougars. These older guys are going, these younger guys going to get these older women. Oh yeah, she about to pay for this and pay for that. People look at anybody older and think dollar sign. So the friend probably was like, girl, you sleep with that 60-year-old man, he can't even pay for your medical bills.
Yeah.
And the other friend probably just like him. 60 or 70, she probably just like him.
Yeah.
It definitely sounds like a 20s to early 30s type of female, you know?
Yeah, well, I just hope the girl was smart enough to not listen to her friend. Like, you don't just get rid of somebody that demonstrates that they're willing to at least try to hold you down in your time of need. Like, those are the type of people that you keep around. Now, if he told you he ain't got it, and then next week he got some new outfits, and next week he's going on a trip, that shows you that they just didn't want to give it to you. But if somebody's saying, man, I ain't really got it right now, making some moves, doing some things, and then coming back to you a couple weeks later and giving you something, you gotta respect and appreciate that.
And I think that it speaks to the larger picture of men only being looked at as financial assets. Because if a woman couldn't financially provide, there's no man in the world that would say, dump her. She ain't got the money for you.
True. I mean,
why is it that men are just automatically supposed to have money and get dumped?
Man, we could do a whole show on that. A lot of women just, I don't know if it's because of society or just observing how desperate a lot of men are, but a lot of women expect financial benefits from their pussy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I call it putting a price tag on a pussy. Like, they have these unspoken expectations, financial benefits. You should pay for dates. You should take me here. You should do. If I need something, you should be giving it to me. Like, you see the memes on the gram. You shouldn't be laying in the bed with a man and struggling financially. Like, there's these messages.
I could have touched on that once, Terry.
Go ahead.
I could have touched on that because I saw that meme floating around. no woman should be laying around with a man that can't pay her bills, right?
Right.
So I tested that and reversed the roles and said no man should be laying around with a woman that can't provide his financial peace. If you stressed out and you got a woman, you should be single. Girl,
I know they came for you. They came for you.
See how y'all switch it up? Because y'all just said as women, if you broke, if you struggling and you got a man, you should be single. So if you stressed and you got a woman, you should be single. Because women are supposed to be looked at as the nurturers and the mental balancers of the relationship, and the men are looked at as the financial providers. So if he can't give you that bag and you can't give him that piece, then both of y'all ain't doing y'all jobs according to society. And the women ain't like that. They did not like that one bit. I said, well, don't say that mean though. What happened?
Yeah, man, they don't like when these hypocritical stances that they take are called out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I see women in my comments, the women that actually get it and, you know, have a realistic perspective on relationships, they comment less and less and less because of the reaction from the clueless chicks and the clueless the mob mentality where one chick posts some dumb comment and another chick come behind it with emojis and hashtags and next thing you know, it's the most popular comment on the whole post because all the clueless chicks tag teamed on it. So that's kind of the negative side of having these type of discussions on social media. But you just gotta accept the good with the bad. That's the way that I look at it.
That's exactly what I do. Is everybody ain't always gonna be like, yes, girl. Sometimes they're gonna be like, oh, you're bugging. You know what I mean? But
Right.
it's like I like to test people's perspectives a lot and pose the same scenarios but changing the genders and see if their thoughts change, and that just reveals the gender bias. If I pose a scenario like the last post we were talking about, if your woman is coming to you talking about, oh, he looks good, every man in the comments is gonna be like, oh yeah, she's bugging, she's not loyal. But they will sit there and justify a man telling
Well, not all men. Insecure men would do that. Like my wife talks about who she finds attractive, and it don't bother me. Like I know Morris Chestnut is, you know what I'm saying? I know what she likes, and it don't bother me because I'm cool.
But it's the unattainables that wouldn't bother you. We talking about the attainable. So talking about Keisha from the block, that's fine. That's equivalent to your wife telling you every day, yo, my new coworker. That's what that is. You ain't got to be worried about Morris Chestnut.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I guess that is a big that is a big difference.
You guys a job, yo. Let me tell you. Like, wait, what? I don't hear this.
All right, so the last post that I had, and this is going to kind of get into the topic of the night that we're going to be talking about. But this was a post that was sent to me. It said, so many females are single because men are getting everything they want out of a female without being in a relationship with her. And I think there's some truth to that. I can definitely see why women would see it that way. But the explanation that I gave is the reason that men get everything that they want out of relationships is because their list of requirements and their relationship goals are a lot shorter and simpler. Men don't go into dating experiences hoping that it becomes a committed relationship and marriage and 3 kids. He's just hoping it progresses from me being a stranger that don't know you to something closer to being somebody you romantically involved with. Right. And so their whole perspective on going into the dating scenario is why they're content with their scenarios with women. Why it's not a big deal if he slept with you on week 1 or week 5. He ain't even tripping. But he's established that he's not just a stranger. Now he's able to have sexual conversations with you and rub on your butt every time he see you. And you know what I'm saying? Like he's able to progress from being a stranger to getting closer and closer to getting in your panties. That's the chase that men, well, it's not necessarily a chase. It's a process. The process of establishing that she's feeling you like that. Establishing that she desires you sexually. You know what I'm saying? Like those steps, and some men are obviously way better at it than others, but that's the process that men enjoy and look forward to. It's not chasing a woman that's not giving them no play, not, you know what I'm saying, making it difficult to communicate with her. This idea of men just want to chase women just for the sake of chasing women that I see promoted is not reality at all.
Well, I think that speaks to what you talk about a lot on your page about quality men. I think that a lot of women come to you with actions of ain't shit niggas expecting you to make sense of it. And I think that it goes back to the first thing you say when you talk about relationships is also, it's always quality. So you're talking about good men, good standards, you know what I mean? People with good intentions. You're not talking about the ancient players and the fuckboys and this and that. So if women are approaching quality men, then these aren't a lot of the problems about being in a relationship, because quality men is the ones that's proposing.
Or they're choosing to stay single.
They got some baby mamas. They got the girls 1, 2, 3, or 4 throughout the week. You know what I mean? Because a quality man wants a quality woman to lock it down.
Not necessarily.
Who go after.
There are a lot of quality men that just enjoy the perks of being quality bachelors. So not all of them want to settle down. A lot of them just want to be single. If they have kid, cool, they can take care of a kid or two. Like, they're not pressed to get married and have a family and settle down, even when they 40 and 50. So it depends on the guy, you know what I mean? Like, on what he values. That's kind of what makes dating this extreme uphill battle for a lot of women, which we'll get into once we start talking about the black love a little bit later on tonight. But that's what it is. Like, the most qualified guys, a lot of them are already taken. A lot of them don't even want to be taken. And the rest are the small percentage that women are fighting for or auditioning for, I guess would be a better terminology to use. So it just depends on, you know.
It just depends on what he's ready for and what he wants and what a woman is willing to settle for. Because it is a large group of men who want marriage and want to settle. But if you're so busy going after the dude that's clearly telling you, I'm just trying to kick it, then that's kind of on you, you know?
I mean, but...
And I think a post that said, I think this was on your page, I can't remember, you know, we have a lot of posts circulating on social media, where the woman said she was with her man for 10 years and he didn't propose and they have kids and they're happy and he doesn't cheat and he treats her like a queen, but she's breaking up with him because they're not married. And I said that speaks to the societal pressure of promoting the title over the bond. Because you got married women that don't have all you have.
Yeah.
And I tell you, this man was paying all the bills, taking care of the home, taking care of the baby, taking care of the woman, taking care of everything in the household. He just ain't signed no paper. So
yeah, a lot of women will make that choice though. I always tell the women the same thing. Like, I think having a healthy, productive relationship is way better than having a bad marriage. So, like you said, everything is all good. Y'all's family unit is intact. Y'all got each other's back. Y'all's priorities are in line. You'd have to be a damn fool to give all that up just because you didn't get married fast enough or his views on marriage don't exactly align with yours. But there are a lot of women that are...
10 years is extreme.
Well,
10 years is like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, that's a long time. But when you look at it, what if so 10 years is a long time to be waiting. That's also a long time to be providing for somebody too. 10 years, that's 120 months of paying bills, paying for flat tires, paying for unexpected emergencies. Like, there's a lot that goes into it from his end too. So it's not like you can just look at him like, yeah, he just took advantage of you for 10 years. Like, and that's how it gets portrayed by a lot of women. And it's like, man, that's...
I think that, here's the thing that a lot of women don't like to speak on though. When you're dealing with men and you're in a bad relationship with them, and you're dealing with the infidelities and the side babies and the financial struggles and all of those woes, a lot of women view the marriage as the consolation prize for having gone through everything she's been through. So it's like, all right, I just sat here and got dogged out, but I better get that ring because I need something to show for all of this time I wasted. Because if you got the good woman who got the good man and everything's happy, she's not really pressing her dude for the ring because she knows where she stands. It's usually the woman who's been getting dogged that's like, oh, she better marry me soon because eventually I'm out of here. You know what I mean? It's kind of a prove to everybody you love me and that I didn't just get hurt all these years for nothing more than it is a let's commit before God that we love each other and we want to be together forever. I know a lot of women in my life personally who are waiting on their rings right now solely because they want the man to prove that he's finished hurting her. And I'm like, girl, you might as well just leave because he can marry you and still play you. You could get married tomorrow and still be getting cheated on. She just goes from side bitch to mistress, that's all. But,
yeah, well, that's interesting that you broke it down like that. I hadn't thought about it that way. That's what I guess that's a good job on me on getting you on the show.
That's the thing that women don't talk about in front of men. It's like, oh, the only reason I want to get married is because I earned this ring. You know what I mean? And then even, it don't got nothing to do with God. It don't got nothing to do with committing to be together forever. It's like, all the shit you did to me, you better marry me, you know? Like,
for sure. All right, man. We about to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be getting into the topic of the night. We're going to be talking about black love and the things that are we have to deal with in order to achieve it. You're listening to another episode of the More Than Love podcast. Thanks for tuning in. All right, everybody, welcome back. You're listening to another episode of the More Than Love podcast. Tonight we are talking about black love and the things that are that we have to deal with in order to achieve it. I have my special co-host for tonight. I got my girl Kira J on the line, giving the female perspective on things. What's going on, Kira? Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome.
All right, now I handpicked you to discuss this topic because I knew you would bring it in a real candid way. So I don't normally talk about race or relationships from a racial perspective, but I get asked about black love a lot. You know, I'm married to a black woman, been married to a black woman for a very long time, so I guess a lot of people respect my thoughts on black love. Now, I have a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. Recently, actor, producer Issa Rae came under fire from some comments that were in a book that she released a couple of years back. Now, the comments that she said, well, I'll read directly so I don't misquote her. It says, in fact, Asian Americans have the highest rate of intermarriage. Asian men, your reputation sucks too. This is why I propose that black women and Asian men join forces in love, marriage, and procreation. Educated black woman, what better intellectual match for you than an Asian man? And I'm not talking about Filipinos. They're like the blacks of Asians. I'm talking about Chinese, Vietnamese, Japanese, etc. According to a 2010 census, Koreans are more inclined to marry black than any other Asian group. So black women, after college, maybe it's a good idea to settle in Los Angeles or anywhere else where Korean town is a hot spot. Asian men, your women are ditching you, and that's where it cut off. So the idea is, well, what I got from that is her perspective as a black woman is, it's so difficult to find qualified black men that you're better off searching for some type of Asian because they're smart too. So you've been a black woman. I wanted to get your thoughts on it and see what you thought of the controversy and her comments themselves.
So this topic, when I saw it, I scrolled past. I was like, oh, nope, not touching this because I don't got time for the social media shenanigans of everybody's thoughts and ignorance surrounding it. But I can safely say this is one of those to really be wise is to see both sides situations. So I both agree and disagree.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I mean, well, I can't speak from that perspective because obviously I'm not a woman, but I can empathize with it and relate to it. I guess coming from Issa Rae, right? Because it's like she's attractive. It's Issa. How you pronounce it?
Issa Rae.
Issa Rae.
I can tell you don't watch Insecure.
Well, I watch it. I just don't pay attention to the pronunciation. I watch Insecure, and that's what I was just about to say. I was gonna say, man, I think Insecure is all fictional, but if that's a real representation of her real life, I can understand why she struggled with dating. You know what I mean? So it's like, I look at her as she's smart enough to be able to find the humor in some of the things that women experience. I don't know if this is really based off of what she experienced personally. You know what I mean? Because one of the I love the show Insecure because I love media and that's my background. But just how authentic of a perspective it showed with women, you know, trying to rush the relationship, casual dating struggles, just little, you know, the blowjob situation where she's overreacting over nothing. So I thought it deserves to be critically acclaimed, and it did a good job of capturing my interest as a man. You know, like
there's not many shows that men and women can.
Yeah, it's not well. There aren't very many that feel realistic. You know what I mean? Like I like Scandal, but the Fitz Olivia romance don't seem realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, but Insecure does have an authentic vibe to it. The situation with her ex smashing a chick, and you know, it's a lot of relatable situations in that. But for somebody like her to struggle with dating, I think that she, based off what I see on what's the awkward black girl and Insecure, she did a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to correct. You know, she exhibited a lot of the dating strategies that are counterproductive or unproductive for women that I'm teaching them about. It represents the flawed perspective a lot of women have on men and sex and relationships. So it's kind of like a warning show of what not to do, and I would think that that's how a lot of women would take it, right?
Yeah. I remember when I did that, I see why it happened that way.
Yeah.
So when I read the passage, what I heard more than I heard black women or Asian men is I heard education. Because she's speaking to wanting someone to match you on a mental level and an intellectual level.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, I didn't go to college. I'm possibly going to college next year, but I think that if you understand the way America works and knowing that so many black men don't get the opportunity to go to college, there's way more black women in college than men. So to be a black woman looking for a man that has a degree and has a master's and all of these things, sis, you might not find that. So, you know, instead of getting with the man who got the little community college or getting with the man who don't got all of the educational acclaim that you have, you say, oh, I'm just popping races because I can't find a black man as educated as me.
Yeah, see, so to me, that another issue that black women really have is they evaluate men based off things that don't matter. You know what I mean? Like they have a very flawed system of determining what man is worth dating, what man's a fuckboy. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't understand why it's so difficult. It's relatively easy from a male perspective to spot other men and tell who's really about something and who's not. You know what I mean? So it's hard to figure.
I don't have nothing against wanting to date someone who's been to college or has a similar background, but I think this speaks to educated black women's desire for ranking. Because she didn't say black women are at the bottom of the totem pole. If you read the full passage, she's not talking about all of us. She's talking about the degree holders and the smart ones. And I think that know that educator is just they're better. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you watch, speaking back to Insecure, you got this character Molly who plays a perfectly nice guy because she wanted to go out with these dudes that have the degrees and the money because she's a lawyer and he's just doing this and that. And I'm like, I mean, I get it. You kind of want to deal with someone who's compatible, but you also kind of want to deal with somebody who cares about you. And some of these men with these degrees are looking at you as if you're beneath them the same way you're looking at men who don't have degrees as if they're beneath you. And I think that we need to take education seriously, but education is something that should be a personal choice. I don't think it's something that should be brought up on a dating profile. You know what I mean? Well, it's not something that's like, what degrees do you have to date me? No, you have. Well,
I don't think college is more about just receiving the degree and some proof that you went to college.
Right.
I think when people that are college educated are looking for somebody that is college educated, it has a lot to do with their network and their circle of friends. Being college educated, me and my wife both have master's degrees, and we met at a HBCU. So our circle of friends are affluent, successful people in lots of different areas. We know engineers, we got friends that are lawyers, etc. And it's one of the biggest differences that you notice once you get a degree. You know, like I'm the first person in my family to go to college. So I didn't know any of these type of people before, but now I have a circle of friends that are affluent people, and I noticed the difference with my child and her type of friends. So it's more than just saying like, your education level ain't high enough for me. I think it encompasses a lot of different facets, and one of it is the social, the network that you bring along.
Well, that's true. But you also have to factor in the fact that there are a lot of black men who are entrepreneurs who might be autodidacts and can run a business better than the woman with the degree, but because they didn't go to school, and, school ain't cheap in America. Let's not sleep on it as it's something that anybody and everybody can do,
Right. I mean, see,
so you close yourself off to a whole chapter of man.
Flawed dating strategy.
Because you're solely searching for someone who can match your mental.
It's a flawed dating strategy because what she's describing is a flawed dating strategy because it decreases her chances of actually obtaining what she wants. Which is ultimately to be with a successful, educated black man. And so if you have effective methods of dating and figuring out if you're compatible with somebody or not, your chances of figuring out, you didn't go to college, you can get a thorough explanation as to why. Now, I started working with my uncle in this mechanic shop, and now I'm part owner. Like, you can hear a whole conversation that erases your concern about their education level. You know what I mean? Like, but you have to be able to have effective communication. A lot of people fail the dating phase by not talking about what really matters. They talk about albums and music and stuff like this and Kardashians, but they don't have the conversations that really identify whether they are compatible long term or not. And that's
speaking of black love, this rhetoric that black successful men are marrying black successful women is false. Because majority of black successful men and women are married to each other. So this group of women who can't find the man is much less to do with their education and more to do with the attitude. Because
I was just about to say that.
You look at the stats of black love, men with degrees, majority of men with degrees are married to black women. When I found that out, I was like, wait, what? If you believe the media, then you would believe that these educated black men don't want black women. And that's a bold-faced lie.
Yeah, it don't represent my reality. Like, almost everybody that I know is married, that's black and is married to a black woman. But you're right, there is a lot of misinformation out there. And
it's extreme misinformation. When I found that out, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I spent my whole life preaching, these men, they get these educations and they don't want their black women, and then you pull up the stats, and it's the furthest thing from truth.
Well, there are a lot of things that have been done that have turned black men and black women against one another. It makes it more difficult for them to have healthy relationships without the baggage and the distrust, and you know what I'm saying, like the all the toxic behaviors that we see, the single parent households, poverty, all these type of things impact relationships because those are the people that
I'm a product of that. I'm a freaking impoverished single mother. I can speak to it. The decisions we make coming from different backgrounds and growing up in different households, it is a huge thing, and it definitely impacts the way I date and the way I have dated in the past. But, I think that the passage, I agree with the point that Asian men being at the bottom totem pole for their circle, and black women being at the bottom totem pole for our circle. I can see why a younger Issa Rae would make the statement, because you gotta remember this is an old ass book.
Okay, that good. That needs to be brought into context too.
Like, I can see why she would make that statement, but speaking to things now, I want to focus more on healing why we are at the bottom of each other's totem pole instead of just saying, "Oh, black men don't want me, then I'm gonna just go with somebody who wants me." Like, no, figure out what psychological damage needs to be undone so we don't keep having generations of black men saying, "Oh, I don't date black women." Like, how do we repair that? I don't want to go and say, "Well, I'm gonna go and get me a white dude." Like, no.
Yeah, well, the guys that I know some guys that don't date black women, and when you hear them speak or their reasoning behind it, it's 100% the attitudes that black women bring to relationships. And a lot of the attitudes that they display towards men, like you've referenced it a couple of times already. You know, you got the ultra independent woman. I don't need no man. I don't need a, like, you got that type of chick. You know what I mean? Like, and when you got a dude that is halfway attractive or halfway decent or halfway got something going for him, if he got to choose between three women and you're the one that has the negative attitude and creates the drama, you're going to be the last one chose. And so,
I think that speaks to a lot of black men not being willing to heal black women as we are willing to heal them. Because you can have a dude that's going, "I don't trust bitches, I don't trust bitches," and a woman will work with him and prove that she is worthy of that trust and let me love you to heal that. Because they know that that's due to you being betrayed by the woman around you or whatever caused you to come to that realization that you don't want to trust no female. But the minute that you got black women who have been abandoned by their fathers, you got black women who have been left by men that they have had children with, black women who have been damaged beyond repair through centuries of post-traumatic slave syndrome, and then you got black men who just pick up and go, "I'm not dealing with that shit." No, these women aren't bitter, they're broken. You got to figure out how we can heal each other instead of just not working with each other.
Yeah, I mean, well, see, I guess you got couple different segments of black men, because for me, like, I've only dated black women, so my experiences with black women, yeah, I've experienced a whole bunch of crazy chicks and chicks that I would never wife or whatnot, but I had very effective dating methods. I had very effective strategies on how to figure out if I was compatible or not with a woman. And so that's where I see a lot of women and men going wrong. And it's the fundamental reason that I created my dating and compatibility guide, to try to walk people through the dating process, outline some of the conversations that you should be having with somebody that you are at least trying to figure out if you can last with them long term, you know, or if y'all's values align, if y'all's views on family, education, ambition, etc. The things that really matter, like conflict resolution.
This all speaks to self-worth more than it is relationships. I think that majority, probably 95% of people's relationship problems have nothing to do with the other person in a relationship. It's shit that people need to work on and fix internally before they step to another person. And then they approach people with this unfinished business. They approaching people with insecurity. They approaching people with negative views on things that they gotta fix first. So, you know, from my perspective, I've been single for some years now. Once I got left after my daughter, listen, screw these dudes. I need to get care together. And I stopped dating. Don't get me wrong, I deal with a dude here and there. boredom, out of entertainment. But relationships are put on the back burner when you got that mental work, that self-work that you got to do. And I think that a lot of men and women need to get themselves right before we keep aligning with other people. I think we put so much pressure on, I just spoke on people not wanting to work with each other, but you have to be willing to work on you before you can work with another person. So a lot of successful and healthy relationships will come to the forefront if you have successful and healthy people. You taking broken people with broken ideas, trying to align and create some broken, toxic bonds. It's not going to work. We got a whole bunch of unhealthy shit happening that people need to get some self-therapy before they can get into the dating scene. And I think that's step one. What's step one to a healthy relationship? Being a healthy person. Boom. If you ain't healthy, don't even think about aligning with a man or a woman until you get that right.
Yeah, I guess that's gonna always be an issue because a lot of people lack the self-awareness to know that they're the problem or know that their mentality on something is not realistic or is not likely to be the outcome.
Having an accountability partner was the best thing that ever happened to me. I met a man after my daughter's father, that relationship ended. The next man that I dated, he was like my accountability partner. So whenever I wanted to spew my bullshit about how I have been hurt and how men have did this and that to me and I don't want to trust and I don't want to love, he would just hold me accountable for what I did to allow it. And I think that if you don't possess the self-awareness, then you need to have an accountability partner to remind you of what you did to allow or to cause it. It would be like, oh my God, I can't believe dude had a baby on me. And then he would be like, he was cheating on you, so what you thought was going to come. Like, you know what I mean? He would have told you on your shit to make you accountable for the situations that you end up in. And it's like, you were right.
The stuff that they want to conveniently ignore,
Exactly.
Yeah.
The things that we ignore. And because I had him in my life, I have an unwaverable level of self-awareness that the minute I step out and do something that I know is not conducive to where I want to be or what I want to achieve, I can call myself on it now because I'm so aware, because I got this mirror thing going on with me now that I can look back on the last 10 years and go, what did I do to allow what was done to me, if that makes sense.
That's what's up, man. I'm glad you reached that point.
Yeah.
It's very similar what the results I try to achieve by exposing a lot of the hypocritical thoughts women have or whatnot. But like I was mentioning earlier, on a social media forum, that gets met with hatred, that gets met with disrespect, hostility, etc. And so it gets treated as this, oh, Terry, you hate women. And it's like, man, if I hated women.
Oh, I get that all the time. That's why I always jokingly say I'm a professional man basher.
Yeah, so it's like
it's
those.
Jokingly, because it's like I ain't never said nothing to bash men ever. That's the joke. I'm talking about behaviors. I'm not talking about the entire gender and how, you know what I mean?
But see, you actually get it though. You have that perspective. Like some people don't have the ability to figure out that there's a difference between describing a negative behavior or a negative thought, and it's completely different to label somebody or criticize that individual as a person. You know what I mean? Like, you could be the smartest person in the world and do something stupid.
When you speak truth and it resonates with someone, then it's going to be met with anger. That's why they have the hit dog hollering thing. Because the women that don't feel you and they know it don't apply to them is going to scroll. But if that shit hit home, how dare you? What you trying to say? Because they know. Even if they don't admit it to you. Even if they don't admit it to you, they know that was some shit that they was doing. So they're gonna go home and examine it. But when you speaking from a perspective of raw, uncut honesty, a lot of people ain't gonna come out in the forefront and say, yo, I felt that. You know what I mean? Even with myself. A lot of men come to me later on down the line and be like, remember when you said X, Y, Z? And I might have reacted a certain way. I felt that later on. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to tell you that you was right, that I was on some BS. But, a lot of people don't like to admit they wrong to the public, i.e. social media. So they might go and comment, yo, this is some bullshit, but screenshot it for their notes to remember it later on.
Very true. Well, it looked like we're about to be up against the clock. Kara, I want to say thank you again, man. I really appreciate the conversation. I'm pretty sure we'll get a lot of feedback on the podcast this week. Before we get out of here, man, let the audience know, those that are watching or listening, let them know how they can find you, find your material, whatnot, and what you got coming up.
All right, so I am Kara J. I-am-K-I-R-A-J. That is all across social media. That's my Twitter, that's my Snapchat, that's my Instagram, and most importantly, that is my YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is where all the spoken word poetry is displayed, and also the movie that I have coming out, Breaking Point, that will be out August 18th, is premiering on YouTube. So you have to go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel. I am Kara J to watch all of my popular videos and catch up before the movie comes out. And talk some shit with me on Instagram one day.
All right, y'all, man. It's been another episode of the More Than Love podcast. I want to appreciate everybody tuning in. Those of y'all that have been subscribing to the podcast or downloading the episodes, I really appreciate the love. Make sure you continue to spread the word and share the content with your friends. It's been another episode of the More Than Love podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
On my line, I stare at the screen a while before I press decline. But she plants a seed and it still lingers in my mind. Told myself I'm strong enough to shake it and I'm trying. But I'm only human, I know loving you's a crime. If I take this cookie now, one day I'll do the time. Slip me a Zenny at once, I got the